Scott Talley coming to you live from the worldwide headquarters of Network in Action, and we have a guest who is driven in from the other part of the country in Katy, Texas, Jennifer Wauhob.
It was a long journey.
Yeah,
I'm glad to be here.
Got your passport stamped.
Yes,
you came
exactly.
through immigrations. We're glad to have you. We're going to talk about real estate a little bit. Tell us about the brokerage firm you work with first and how you got into real estate.
I am with Better Homes and Gardens, Gary Green. I've been with them for 9 years now. I work out in our...
Started when you were 12.
Exactly. And I am out in their Katy office.
All right.
And I've done a lot of different things for them. I've coached our new agents. Right now I do some of our training up at corporate. And then I also run a real estate team. And right now we are a team of 6.
All right. And all 6 of those people are working 40 hours a day and giving you everything they got?
7 days a week.
Yeah,
No rest.
Katy is a very interesting market. It's grown like crazy. I'm
Yes.
a native Houstonian, and people are shocked when they realize it's bigger than Pittsburgh, right?
Yeah, it's basically spilling over into Fulshire now and Brookshire and Simonton. We're going to be in San Antonio before long, I think.
Yeah. I read recently where that Fulshire corridor and all in there is one of the fastest growing parts of the country. So
it is.
How many high schools in Katy, you said?
I think we're at 8
Wow.
now, with a new one opening next year.
God, I'm going to date myself, but I literally remember when Katy was the only high school right there on the side of I-10. You know,
I've
Little's football stadium right there.
I've only lived here for about for 9 years. I got in the business when I moved here, but that's what everyone says. It used to be the end of the earth, and now
it was. And we would go out there to hunt ducks. So when you drive down I-10, all the land was underwater. So when it floods in Katy and everybody's puzzled, I'm like, why? It was rice fields.
Yeah, all rice fields.
So, well, let's jump in and talk about real estate. Do you have a specialty you like? Do you do more listings? Or?
I am a listing specialist, yes.
Awesome.
I do. We handle both buyers and listings, but I work specifically with our sellers usually, and we have a really good track record out there. We're good at getting homes staged and prepped and sold quickly.
So I'm glad we're going to talk about that because we've talked about on these podcasts before about first-time home buyers and veterans, but we really haven't talked about listings. So let's just hone in on that.
Sure.
So I'm about ready to sell my home. How many months ahead of time should I call you?
I would say as early as possible. And the reason is why is we want to help you get your home ready to hit the market because you will never have more attention than when you first come on the market. When you are the newest kid on the block, that is when you're going to have the most eyeballs on you. So we want to have all the work done ahead of time. So when the curtain goes up, you are bright and shiny and ready to go. So as soon as you are thinking about it, that would be the best time to call. Let us come in, kind of do an assessment with you, walk through, maybe tell you some things you should be working on to get your home ready. Obviously, giving you some numbers so we can start watching the market in your neighborhood and see what price we might want to come in at. So the sooner the better.
So we're talking to an expert here because in 9 years, I know in Katy, we've had summers and times where like houses sold 10 minutes after they were listed. And we've had times where you can find a buyer. So talk about the different markets and different strategies. Let's say we're in a market where everybody's buying. I mean, it's a seller's market. What are some of the things you want to make sure you do right?
And don't we all love it when it's a seller's market? And those times are good when you put it out there and you got multiple offers the first weekend. But if things are slower, that means as a seller, you have to even do more to have your house. I mean, you don't need to have repairs that need to be done. It needs to be cleaned. It needs to be painted. It needs to be staged. You can slack on that a little bit when it's a crazy seller's market and people are buying everything anyway. But if it's a competitive market or things are taking a little longer to sell in your neighborhood, then that is just all the more reason for you to make sure your home is show ready.
So let's talk about that seller's market first. What are mistakes people make? I mean, obviously you could underprice your home. That's your job, is to help make sure that doesn't happen.
It's actually really hard to do. Buyers are really savvy now. There's so much information out there on the internet. If a home comes on the market and it's priced below where the market knows it should be, what will happen is you'll get multiple offers and it will get bid back up usually. So it's very hard to leave money on the table and underprice a home. Of course, most sellers, mistake they make is overpricing their home. They think, let's aim high, let's swing for the fences. And I really advise against that. And sometimes they think as a negotiation tactic, then we have room to come down. It actually isn't the best negotiation tactic. Buyers are savvy. They're also not going to overpay for a home. And then you end up sitting and getting kind of stale. And the longer you sit, then buyers start to think, what's wrong with your house? And you eventually lower it to where you should have been. And at that point, you've kind of lost that negotiation power.
It might be a couple of months and people don't realize you've got expenses during that couple of months that maybe it's $8,000 or $10,000.
That's true. You're paying a mortgage and all that stuff month after month. So it really is better to price it right. You can go on the higher side, but be in the right zone because again, you're going to get your strongest offers the newer you are on the market. So if you're sitting, historically your offers are going to get lower and lower.
So years ago, I was dealing with a realtor, probably the first experience, a 30 years ago, and I thought when the realtor came in and told me I needed to do all this stuff, I thought, the realtor's just trying to make their life easy. But I'll tell a real life story. When I first got married, I was going to help my new bride sell her townhouse. And I put a nice flyer inside the townhouse and said, we'll pay for new carpet and we'll paint, thinking that I'd let them pick the colors. We had 72 people see that little townhouse on Augusta, no offers. I popped the new carpet in there and painted, and it sold within about 2 days.
That's another
People don't really have vision, right? I mean, they don't.
It's a great point. So here's what I always tell my sellers too, because they do what you want. Why did you not want to do that? Because you didn't want to spend the time, the work, or the money.
Well, I thought it was being nice. I wanted people to pick out their own carpet, their own paint.
But most sellers, they think, well, I don't want to deal with it. I'll just lower the price, or I'll give them a credit. The thing is, buyers also, when they walk into a house that needs work, think this house is time, work, and money. They don't want to do it either. So if you will take the initiative and repaint the walls, change out the carpet, update the cabinets, or whatever needs to be done, your home will sell much quicker.
Yeah. I'll tell you, for inexperienced people in real estate like I was 30 years ago, it's funny how you hire a professional, like a realtor, and then you don't want to listen to them. You think you know more. And it's not unlike anything else we do. I can get my nephew to build a website, or I can get a pro, and obviously I get a pro, it's going to work. So trust your realtor. They've been well-trained and well-versed.
This is what we do all day, every day. And I tell my sellers too, I'm out with buyers a lot. I hear what they're saying. I hear when they say, oh, that house needs too much work. I don't want to mess with it. So we hear the feedback from the other side. We try to use that to educate our sellers to help them get their house in the best shape so they can get an offer quick.
I've got a $320,000 home. I've got $20,000 I'm going to put in it to spruce it up. Where's that money go?
Ideally, first thing is your kitchen.
Okay.
Kitchen and bathrooms are the things you get the highest rate of return on.
Okay.
Any visible repairs, we're not asking you to go, poking around in your attic, fixing, things like that. But if there's something that a buyer is going to see when they're walking through the house, maybe your dog has scratched up the door trim in the back or things like that, go ahead and fix that, because every little thing they see that needs work kind of ticks the value of your home down in that buyer's mind.
It's not the easiest job in the world to walk in home and start flipping light switches and having lights and fans not come on, right?
Right, exactly. I mean, like you say, even just change out your light bulbs, even a burned out light bulb, just you'd be surprised. A clean house. Yes. I get some sellers that don't understand clean.
We recently, over about the last 6 weeks, replaced all of our incandescent bulbs with LED lighting. And it's incredible to me. The house looks
like
more
a new
modern.
house?
Well, it just looks more modern. The other bulbs had sort of a yellow tint, and we didn't get the bright white like a garage light.
Well, that's good.
But it really looks warmer and cleaner. It's interesting.
The lighting makes a big difference. Even I've had buyers look up, they'll notice the air return, on your AC filters, if that's really dirty. They just notice these things. When they're out looking at houses, they're really looking. And I think now they're pickier than ever. I blame HGTV for that. They watch TV, they see people get these brand new gorgeous houses. That's kind of what they're expecting when they go out there. So even if your house isn't brand new, you need to make it show in the best possible way it can.
Talk to me a little bit about I've heard conflicting reports about, staging a house, or let's say you can't really afford to stage it, or you're going to be living in the house, but just reducing the clutter. Clutter
is a big one. That's usually the first thing we tell our sellers to do is declutter. And I always say, if you're living where there's new construction, go into a model home. Those builders spend a lot of money on research to see what people are buying. You'll notice they don't have clutter. They don't have knickknacks and tchotchkes everywhere. It's very clean. It's very simple. So we do a walkthrough. We'll do a room by room. We actually send you a printout afterwards of things that you should do. Take down personal photos, clean off countertops. It's not how you live in the house, but when it's time to sell your house, that's what's going to make it show the best.
Do open houses still work?
They do, actually, yeah. Open houses are great for maybe you have a buyer who is wanting to move but hasn't gotten serious enough yet to maybe hire a realtor and start, showing. So it gives them an opportunity to come and see your house. And if it's the house they really like, then they do still work. We still get a lot of traffic at open houses.
I'll be there. And let's talk to a first-time home seller. So we get a lot of information to first-time home buyers, but we've got a seller. They've been in a house for 3 or 4 years. They're ready to upgrade, or they're moving to another part of the country. And just walk them through the steps of what they can expect. Prior to getting the contract, you've already talked a little bit about getting the house ready, but let's say they've got a contract. What happens next?
So I always tell my sellers, one of the things that I think a lot of people fail to expect is buyers are going to ask for repairs. So it doesn't matter how good a shape the house is in, there's always something. And in all my years, I think I've had maybe 1 or 2 transactions ever where the buyer didn't ask for anything. So I always prep them ahead of time. You're going to have multiple negotiations. First we're going to negotiate your price and your contract terms confirms your closing date and all of that. But there are going to be other negotiations as we go. And so I tell them whenever we're looking at their net sheet and what they're going to walk away with, to budget in a couple extra $1,000 for repairs. When you talk about that stuff up front, then whenever they do get that repair list from the buyer, they're prepared for it. They can handle it much more calmly. Sellers can get kind of emotional about their homes.
They don't ask you as the realtor to pay for it.
Unfortunately, I'm not in the business of fixing up houses. But, if they know it's coming, it makes the process a lot less stressful for them.
Yeah.
Selling your home can be stressful. Any move is stressful. So we try to do our best to educate our sellers so they always know what's coming next. And when you know what to expect, it makes the whole thing a lot more enjoyable for you.
It really can be time consuming when you think about having to prep your house. 2 or 3 times a day for different showings. Get a lot of showing in the beginning.
And that's all the more reason to have it priced right, have it staged, have it look good. Because when you sell quickly, then you don't have to go through months and months of showing your home. So there's a lot of benefits to having it right.
So typically the time frame, we get a contract on a home after we've prepped it and got it ready. We've negotiated over a course of 3 or 4 or 5 days probably to get it solidified. And then what happens? They're going to wait about a month, right?
Yeah, typical contract to close time is about 30 days. We can negotiate that. Some sellers, they need to get the money out of their house before they can buy their new house. Right. So we'll negotiate what we call a lease back, where they can actually close on the home. The buyers now own it, but they get to lease it back from the buyers for a certain amount of time so they can get moved into their next house. That takes a huge stress off sellers, not having to move twice or move their stuff into storage. But about 30 to 45 days total. And then the marketing time ahead of that, it just depends on your neighborhood. So we try to budget all of that in so you really have a good idea from the time you come on the market to the time you're going to be moving into your new house. You know what to expect.
And does a seller typically show up at closing?
Yes.
Yeah,
they've got to sign the docs.
Okay. So the seller's at closing. Yes, they're going to sign the documents, and then they're going to get funded.
They're going to hand over all their keys. They're going to have that money hit their bank account, and then they are on to the next chapter of their lives.
That's awesome. A little bit of advice about 1031s. Can you talk just for a second about people who have a lot of equity in their home and might want to exchange that for another like-type
So
property?
we typically see investors who use 1031 exchanges. If you're not familiar with what that is, it basically allows you to sell a home, take the profits, and put those profits into another home. You get to defer the taxes, essentially.
And the taxes are anything over, what is it, $200,000 for capital gains for a single?
And that's on capital gains. It doesn't apply exactly the same to 1031 exchanges. There are some requirements. That would be something you would want to talk to your realtor about, or get with their certain mortgage companies that specifically handle 1031 exchanges. We usually see them more on the investor side. People who are flipping houses, it helps them when they're running their business not have to pay taxes every single time they close on a property.
Got it. And if you keep your home for 2 years, the capital gains.
Correct. Yeah. Capital gains taxes, when you sell a home, if you've lived there less than 2 years, and if it's over, typically I think it's $250,000, there are some additional taxes you have to pay. So if you stay in that home past 2 years, or you have a home that's under that price point, you can avoid paying those taxes when you sell.
Awesome. What other tips would you give a seller that we've left out?
One thing I like to say is don't forget curb appeal. We live inside of our houses. We tend to only look at the inside, but if you go online right now and look at houses, what's the cover photo for every house going to be?
Yeah.
The outside. So go stand across the street from your house, take a good look at it, and don't forget that's the first impression for a buyer when they pull up. So clean up your flower beds, put down some fresh mulch, power wash your doorway and your front door. We don't realize those get really dirty and, spider webs and things like that. Right. Have some fresh flowers out. That way, the minute they pull up to the house, they instantly have a good feeling about it.
And don't put mulch out an hour before your open house.
As long as it's fresh, that's all that matters.
Tell the audience how they reach you by phone and email.
Sure. So you can visit our website, which is katygoodlife.com. We also have a Facebook page and a YouTube channel where we post a lot of just helpful information for buyers and sellers. Or you can email us directly on jennifer@katygoodlife.com. And my phone number is 281-896-4798.
Awesome. Before we go, you've done some networking. You're at the Network and Action Group in Katy. How's that work for you?
I'm pretty new to the group. I've only been there about a month or so, but I've already sent some referrals. I've already received some referrals, and it seems like a really great group.
That's great. Yeah, the realtor is always the first spot taken and the last one given up.
I was excited to get in one. Yeah.
You know why?
Why?
Because they make money. Yeah, it works very well. It'll take time. Like you said, everybody in the group, 70% of them might know a realtor, but at the end of the day, somebody doesn't, and they're going to trust you, and they're going to give you a great opportunity. So we're so glad you came in today. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you for having me.